Okay, prepare the body. Usually, people have a lot of resistance to contemplating the body as the object of the meditation. A lot of people complain that the body have some negative image. So I focus on the negative side of the body. Other people say that the body contemplation is a way of fostering aversion to the body, which is an unhealthy mental state. Some say they're not all that attached to the body, so why should we have to focus on our body? Or some refer to the story where the Buddha recommended contemplation of the body to some monks and then went off into the forest for a couple of months. The monk got so disgusted with the body and they started committing suicide. Same time, other high assassins to kill themselves off. When the Buddha came out of the forest, he found the community of the monks was a lot smaller than it has been before, so he called the remaining monks together and told them to practice breathing meditation instead. And I think this is one of the reasons why the Buddha appreciate and love so much about breathing meditation. Because some people cite as proof that the contemplation of the body is an unhealthy practice. The fact that the people resist this meditation so much show that it's very important. It is threatening, for it gets right to the core of our attachment. There is nothing in this world we are attached to more than our body. And that's why people have so many excuses for not focusing the body. If you don't focus right here, what's going on? What's going to happen? You are going to maintain your deep attachment to the body. It's not going to go away on its own. Some people think they can short circuit the process of attachment by going straight to their sense of self, thinking that by cutting out of the sense of self, they would not have to work on the contemplation of the body because the work they are doing goes deeper straight to the root, you know. But attachment is like a wine. You can't find the root until you take hold of the nearest branch and trace it back. You cannot really get to the root of your attachment to self until you are look at where your most blatant day-to-day, moment-to-moment attachment is, right here at the body. The least little things happen to our body and we cannot stand it. A little bit of the hunger, a little bit of the thirst, too much heat, too much cold set you running off. A little bit of illness and we go running for the medication. If that's not attachment, what it is? So it's very important. We look it right here. Otherwise, we stay attached to the suffering the body is going to bring us. As we all know, it grows old, gets sick, then dies. If you don't think that's going to be suffering, then go spend some time with some very old people, some really sick people, or even with dying people. See how much they suffer. Everything goes out of our control. And that's why it's really good to contemplate, not to develop a sense of aversion, but to look at the universality of this bodily condition, that is to develop a sense of spiritual urgency or samveka, seeing how much efforts go into maintaining the body and then where all that effort ends up. If you are looking for the happiness, you're looking in the wrong place. That is the whole contemplation of the body is all about. If we don't learn how to give up our attachment while we are still healthy and strong, it's going to be get harder and harder. as the body weakens, as the body grows old. And that's why we have to begin today, right here, right now. We have to develop a sense of confidence in the contemplation of the body. There's no way we are going to get over our attachment to the body if we don't look at it very, very carefully. The reason we attach to the body is because we don't look carefully. And that's why every morning I or we or the monk have to contemplate 32 parts of the body. Contemplate the body in terms of the elements. What have you got here? Just the physical elements, right? Wind, energy, fire, and warmth, water, coolness, and earth, solidity. Do they belong to you? You answer no, right? They are a part of the world. As their saying goes, ash to ash, dust to dust. As long as we live, we take it, the element, as we eat, and we expel the elements as we defecate. And then when we have to give the whole thing up, it all go back into the element as we die. So where are you going to find true happiness there? So when we put more effort in contemplation, we go into the body. Is the body true to you? Sometimes it doesn't. Sometimes maybe it does what you want, but a lot of time it does not. When it starts getting old, grows sick, and dies, it doesn't ask your permission. You would think that after all the effort you put into it, it would show some gratitude, but it cannot. That's not its nature. Actually, we are the ones who have been animating the things. One of the images in the canon is of the body as puppet. We pull the strings for a while and then they snap. The pieces break down. It's good to develop a sense of dispassion and disenchantment for the body, to develop a sense of samveka, spiritual urgency, so that when it breaks down, we don't break down too. We don't bad mouthing the body, we're just looking at it for what it is. Ultimately, we want to learn how to use it simply as tool without attachment. But to counteract the attachment, we have got to go very far in the other direction to counteract all the hip or the slick advertising slogan used to sell yourself on the body about how important it is, how essential it is, all the good things that come from looking after very carefully, doing all meditation, yoga, or even giving exercise, eating all the right food. You can do those things. Still, it is going to age, grow ill, and die, right? I remember one of the meditation technique that my mom like to teach the monk student. A sense of light in the body was to have them visualize themselves within that light. Sometimes they didn't even have to will it. The image would appear on its own right there in the light. They could see themselves sitting right in the front of themselves. And she said, okay, think about what the body is going to look like 5 years from now, then 10 years, 15 years, 20 on up to when you die. What is it going to look like when you die? Then you keep it around the second day after you die, third day, fourth day, so on. What will it look like then? And after 7 days, in Thai tradition, we cremate it and watch the cremation flames. Then what's left? Just some ash and bones. And then over time, the bones themselves will ultimately turn to ash. You have got nothing but a pile of powder. Then it gets blown away. The benefits of the contemplation is that when there is the least little delusion about the body, the contemplation helps to cut right through it. Then the desire for the ideal body and its thought that other people may get old, but I'm going to do yoga. I'm going to eat right. I'm going not to get old as fast as they do. You can see how dilute and it is. It is not to encourage you not to take care of the body, but simply to watch out for any delusion that gets built up around it, so that when aging, illness, and death comes, we are more prepared. And I think another reason to contemplate the body, it is to ask ourselves, aging, illness, and death are coming. Have you attained a state of mind that's going to be free from the suffering when they arrive? If we have not, how much time do you have now? You don't know, right? So get to work right here and right now. When the urge come to cut short your meditation, remember this. How much more time will you have to meditate? Have you gotten to where you want to go? This is the end of the storyline for all of us. Aging, illness, and death. This is where it's all ahead. So we have got to be well prepared. Otherwise, we will lie in the bed, hallucinating when we get old, seeing strange dark in the corner and people committing suicide out in the yard. Because the fact of our being old, the fact of our approaching death, is just too much for us to think about. Too much for the mind to handle. The mind start blocking things out. When it blocks things out in that way, it heads towards delusion. Try to run away as much as it can from the unpleasant things. But we can run away from them. They are right there. We have our cell trap. The only way to get out of this trap is to dig down into the mind and uproot our attachment. That's where our hope lies. When we able to point out the negative side of things, it's never just to stop at the negative side. It is to point us towards the deathless. It is to remind us as a warning. This is the way things are, right? So what are we going to do to stay happy in the face of how they are? Only the deathless can give you a secure refuge at a time like that. We like to think that life will come to a nice point of closure where the loose ends get tied up, where everything gets settled as the end of a movie. But it's not when it happens. But that's not what happened, really. Everything just unravel, fall apart, things not come back together and resolve themselves naturally. There is a huge dissonance at the end of life as things trail off every which way. That's how the body comes to an end. The question then is, will the mind go the same way as well? I can answer this for you. We have the choice, and this is our opportunity, the practice. So we contemplate the unattractive side of the body to develop a sense of spiritual urgency, samvega, to encourage us to practice and dig deeper. Remember one time mom told me mindfulness immersed in the body ultimately leads to deathless if you do it right. If you do it wrong and develop a sense of aversion like the monks in the story. So go back to the breath, and that will help dispel aversion in the same way that the first rain of the rainy season dispel all the dust that has filled the air during hot season. And if you still find yourself resisting the practice of body contemplation, you just simply look into the resistance to see exactly what it is. I tell you, it is usually a disguise for your attachment. The body is not the problem, the attachment is the problem. But to deal with the attachment, that you have got to focus on the object where the attachment hold on very tight. When you really look at it, you see that body is really not much. It's not worth much. And your attachment builds up so many narrative, so many desires around it. So This is the topic of the meditation that I would like to give you as an object of the meditation tonight. Take a deep and long breath, sharing your peaceful mind, happiness to all being, all direction, Apamanya sharing. Sape satta avera hotu, apayapacha hotu, anika hotu, sukhi attanang pariharantu. Okay, thank you everybody for joining meditation class today. I wish you all having a good night. We'll see you next time.